Disclaimer, I do not own the character that I am about to talk about. The character's credit and the entire series this character comes from is owned by those of Akira Toriyama, rest in peace to the recently deceased, Toyotaro, and etc. So please support their official releases, and let's get to the video. What consumes the thoughts of, well, any deity in fiction? Dragon Ball Super created a lot of really interesting and incredibly popular villains. There's Frieza, then there's the Perfect Cell, and then later on there's those like Kid Buu and Beerus. However, the latter of those is more of a side-ish character for the plot. But one character stays as the first true villain of, let's say, divine experience. The Supreme Kai in training of Universe 10, Zamasu. Zamasu is the Universe 10's Supreme Kai in training, trained by the actual Supreme Kai, Gowasu. And he had a different perspective of, well, mortals, as he calls them. Basically, Supreme Kais are effectively gods in the Dragon Ball mythos. More specifically, those who actually watch over and create. And Zamasu was simply put, he didn't like the quotations barbaric nature of mortals. And when he was taken to see some aliens, he was simply put disgusted, and thus his vision of them was entirely warped and effectively couldn't actually be changed, basically. So he used the Super Dragon Balls to switch bodies with our good old pal Goku. And I'll explain here in a sec. Using the Super Dragon Balls, after killing off his master Gowasu, taking the time ring and other things, he used the Super Dragon Balls to switch bodies with Son Goku, someone who he saw as a mortal worthy of his cause, aka, straight up just destroying any and all mortals that exist, creating a utopia for the deities only. Yeah. He became someone that is known as Goku Black. As uncreative as this name happens to be, he kind of tortured a certain blue-haired, used-to-be purple-haired swordsman. Specifically, using the time ring, literally just, it's a ring that manipulates time and space, can create dimensional rifts in said time and space to go to different timelines, rewrite the future, and all that. Basically creating a whole other paradox or timeline, and he would abuse this to every single content possible. And he would use this newfound body of his to induct what he calls the Zero Mortal Plan, which I believe I've said earlier is him exterminating any and all mortals around. And of course, that includes that includes Goku himself. And of course, that leads to what he has in his repertoire. Let's go over them, shall we? Goku Black, like almost every other important character in Dragon Ball, has ki. Quite literally just living energy inside everything in the Dragon Ball universe. And he uses it to create ki blasts, bombs, beams, and blades, such as his divine god cutter, which is a ki blade created from his hand utilizing ki, which can be turned from a normal saber attached to his hand to a scythe to a copy of the Azure Dragon Sword, aka what Yamcha used in the original Dragon Ball. It's literally named after that. He also inherited all of Goku's abilities, such as instant transmission, which allows you to teleport to anyone with a key signature, or anywhere with a key signature for the matter. He got Goku's Kamehameha, aka otherwise known as the Black Kamehameha. He can construct construct crescent-shaped ki waves and this relate and basically anyone can do this in the Dragon Ball series, but we only see Goku Black do it. Goku Black also has Buku Jutsu, which is basically just the ability to fly using ki. In the manga, he was able to utilize he had some sorcery here and there. In the manga, specifically his Thunder Shock Surprise, which is derived from Roshi, where he creates a literal bolt of lightning from his hands, except his is pink, I think. And as you can see in the footage, he is in a form called Super Saiyan Rose, which is what happens when you utilize Super Saiyan God with Super Saiyan and with an actual divine ki wielder that isn't immortal. More on that later. The Saiyan physiology is very similar to actual Earthlings, aka humans. However, since Goku's had his cut off, but they have monkey-like tails, which allows them to usually turn into Uzarus. This is basically useless information to establish what the Saiyans used to have. But some others include unable to produce facial hair. Usually, which is a plot hole that I won't really get into, since that's not what we're here to explain. However, one thing that is something that is very important is something called Zenkai boosts. These are very, very much important. My grammar needs some work. Basically, a Zenkai boost is when a Saiyan undergoes a life or death scenario and barely survives. Then when they recover, they gain a big boost in power that it basically sends them on a power trip. It's effectively then leveling up through life or death, through a do or die situation. Goku Black has this physiology, thanks to the fact that he inhabits the body of one of the strongest characters in Dragon Ball. and during that point, Goku Black is able to exhibit the Super Saiyan form as shown in the manga. As shown in this panel here, he can effectively activate Super Saiyan and I think Super Saiyan 2. Through this, he gains the usual 50 times and 100 times boosts from both forms, boosting his power exponentially as well as making him faster. And the second form, and this is his Rose form. Basically, what happens when you add Divine Ki to Super Saiyan as an actual deity. It rivals Goku and Vegeta's Super Saiyan Blue, who I should probably mention during the start of Dragon Ball Super. Goku does this. That was a universal level power feat. aka, basically, what Goku and Beerus' fight with when Goku first activated Super Saiyan God is it was explained by Grand Kai and Shin Kai. Basically, they said that that at that level, if they did that clash more than 3 times, Goku would have destroyed the entire planet. Well, not just the planet, the entirety of Universe 7. It's insane. I'll just show. This is Universe 7. You can have... Now, multiple other Versus shows have gauged how much larger this universe is than our own universe. And the highest I've seen on those shows is around 13 billion times. Could be higher, but I'm far from as good in terms of calculating how large this planet is, universe compared to how large our own is. So, yeah. Basically, this is around high universal. At least it should be. I mean, checking the chart for Now, considering how much larger every other series says the Universe 7 is, and given the fact that that I'd have to rely on those scalings alone, it's most likely that Goku Black would be in High Universal to High Universal Plus, at least to my understanding. Now let's move on to his speed. Actually, never mind, he's not High Universal. He's actually low multiversal, because, as explained by the thing I saw on the while refreshing, it is basically more than just a normal space-time continuum of universes. It is a 4D space-time continuum of universes with multiple different smaller parts of it inside. Basically meaning that Goku Black at this point is far stronger than that first initial clash with Goku. Probably like hundreds of thousands times stronger. That's a rough guess. Now that his power is done, we can manhandle his speed, which, no, isn't actually infinite. Dragon Ball is partially known for its speed, rather as well as its big yell then power-up moments. And considering how many fights Goku and them have been through that put them against massively fast and light opponents that can dodge multiple different light beams at incredibly high speeds. Like, before this, Goku had to fight Hit, who he had to be stronger than Hit in order to break through it, but if we took that at face value, he'd be at infinite to immeasurable speed, which is highly unlikely. Unless you use Super Dragon Ball Heroes, which I do not plan to. So yeah, Goku Black is also at around MFTL Plus, or Massively Faster Than Light Plus, with the plus being highest end. So, millions of times, like... Scratch that. He's quadrillions of times the speed of light, considering how many opponents Goku's faced that can outright stop time. Although, again, it relies on its power level. Dragon Ball has a system to where the stronger character can usually resist / is immune to whatever the weaker character's hacks happens to be. So, Goku Black could reliably move outside of Hit's time skip. But that big thing that we need to mention is this time ring over here. And this would put him at infinite to immeasurable because he directly becomes a paradox because of this thing. Because he met the actual Zamasu, even though he himself is Zamasu. But he fuses with this man. Well, he fused with himself, and literally after losing to Vegito and Trunks, becomes the same universe that he was in, aka Trunks' future. I'm not going to use Fused Zamasu here. Possibly. We'll see about it, I'll think about it. But that's really it. That's really all I have to put here. Other than Goku Black is simply a menace to the Dragon Ball universe, and if he wasn't killed off by literal Omni King Zeno, who can destroy anyone and everyone in his own verse, as he is the strongest person in his own verse, this man would be a bigger threat than anyone else in Dragon Ball. Mostly. So yeah. Don't tick this man off during his Zero Mortal plan, because if you are immortal yourself, he will end you. Whether it be with a scythe, or a sword, or a key beam, or big FU bomb. He's not gonna be nice to you. If you haven't already noticed.
You've been running around making messes for too long, and now I'm going to choke the life from you. I can't wait to watch you die.
I said in not only a post, but in an announcement that I would be voice acting both characters, and I also said in a post that I literally that I posted like minutes ago that I would show y'all an impression of me voicing one of the characters during their actual analyses. And here is the one for Goku Black. More specifically, a line I will actually think about putting in as a rough draft of the actual fight. Look at this pathetic bleeding world. I'll eradicate it in the name of the Zero Mortal Plan.